What is going on, young men? I am the over 50 guy slash the online dad. Listen, on today's video, young men, talk about women and dating, particularly at the age that you guys are at now. You know, young man, when I was your age, my father, he would try to tell me so much about women, and he would do it in story form. Like, he just wouldn't come right out and tell me certain things. It was almost like allegory Pop would be using with me, and I just didn't understand these things, and it would take me years later to like, that's what he was talking about. That's what he meant by that. So you know, one thing that he used to tell me, and I'm not going to do it in allegory form, I am going to tell you guys straight up about this one thing that you really need to be aware of out here when it comes to dating and women. You know, Pop used to say, the better you treat a woman, the worse she'll treat you, and the worse you treat a woman, the better she would treat you. Young man, I have heard that since I was 12 years old. And from 12 to about maybe 30, that made absolutely no sense to me. But as I got older and as I became exposed to, you know, some different ideas and looking at things differently, looking at things from outside of the lens of my upbringing and that type of thing, what Pop says actually started to make sense, right? And what stands out to me, young men, about what Pop says about that and what I know to be true now that I've lived some life is that it is not necessarily that it is a man treating a woman bad. What it is, and I think what Pop was trying to say was that of when you're dealing with a man that has options, right? Options with women, meaning that he has more than one woman and he is not just dealing with one woman, then that man doesn't have to make that woman the center of his attention. That man doesn't have to break his neck to try to, you know, show his affection to this person. He doesn't have to jump through hoops for sex or any of those things. That this man doesn't really have to do a lot of those things. Again, particularly when he has options in other women. That young man, that's the way I came up, not with the options. I learned about that later. But the way I came up with women is the ideal of, you know what, you treat them special, you know, you're holding the doors, you're pulling out the chairs, you're doing all of these things to make them feel special. And what you will find, young man, and what my father was saying was that those men who do that think that that's the thing that is gaining them favor with these women. When in all actuality, the woman knows that she has you. It's the man that she can't get that she's really after. The man with options, right? I heard something, young men, years ago, and you talk about light bulb popping on. Rollo Tomasi, if you guys don't know him, I've mentioned him in some videos past. He's the author of the book, The Rational Male. Life-changing book. If you guys haven't got it, look it up online. Definitely worth the read. But Rollo would say this thing that just turned the light bulb on for me. And what he said, men, was that women want men that other women want to fuck and other men want to be like. That's who women are attracted to, right? In other words, they are attracted to men that other women want, right? And when you think about that, and now that I think about it, guys, he said something further, and this will kind of tie it in for you. He said that 90% of the women out here are really only after a handful of certain men. That's why you see certain men, and they got multiple girls, they got, and this is the athletes, this is the entertainers, that because all women want men that other women want, right? Why is it, guys, that you have women lined up lined up at these athletes' hotel rooms when they get off of games or when they come off of stage. They're in line. They want to be with these men. They can care less that these other women are there for the same thing. They want to be with that man because he's a man that other women want. So you being the nice guy, you being the sugar and spice and everything that's nice, she'll deal with you, but you're not who she really wants. Because if you're doing a woman like that, it is because you don't have any other options. So you're trying to treat her as nice and as sweet as pie because you know, and she knows too, that she's the only thing you got. That's why you take shit from her. That is why she does all kinds of outlandish and outrageous shit and you're still there. And by and large, men, a lot of men are like that. A lot of men are like that because they don't have options. See, here's the thing, man, that you need to understand. Women have these options. They know that they can be whatever, but every man wants that box between their legs. So that's why they can play you any kind of way, ghost you, deal with you or not deal with you, because they have the options. They know that all the men want them. You, however, you don't have that option, right? So my thing is knowing what I know now, young men, because I spent years being the one trying to please that one woman and wondered why they were always running from me to the man that treated them, like my father said, treated them like shit. And they would run after these men. I can't tell you guys how many stories I am listening to from women telling me about how horrible this man is and how he runs around on different women, and you sitting around listening to this thinking that this is your chance, this is your end, and I would never do you like that, sweetheart. I'm the type of man, only for that woman a week later to be back with that same man. Why? Because that man has the options, and that's attractive to a woman, right? So when my father said, young men, that you treat them bad, I don't think it's a matter of treating them bad. I think it's just treating them like you're not special. You're not special, that I have other options. Guys, I can remember being on dates when I was younger and, my body was together. I felt good about myself, tall, reasonably good looking. Y'all should have heard the shit that I'd be talking on a date. And a lot of times I'd be faking the funk, but they didn't know that. Listen, wildly attracted to me because I would say shit like, you know what? I'm not hung up on your coochie tonight. I'll get some. It may not be yours, but I'll get some. So regardless of what happens with this date, I ain't trying to fall all over myself to make a good scene for you or whatever. You can come or go. I got options, right? Y'all, I talk to him like this. I had a friend of mine, she would say her favorite line was that, you're going to mess around and talk yourself out of some coochie. And my response to her was, I may talk myself out of your coochie, but I ain't talking myself out of coochie, because once you leave, coochie is a phone call away. That kept her around. She didn't go flying out the door. You would think me saying that she would be like, ain't that you got other women you fuck? I'm gone. Sat her ass right there on that couch. So what I am saying, young man, what I am saying is that you really do, at your age now, you really do want to focus on becoming that man with options instead of chasing after one woman, right? How do you become that man of options? Well, first of all, let's talk about those men that seem to have, the options with women. 9 times out of 10, they have a lot of money. They are in shape, right? They're popular, and because of all of that, they have loads of self-confidence in themselves, right? And so how do you go about becoming that type of man? You build yourself now. See, most men will never get to that in life because they're so busy doing what I did for years, which is chasing after one woman. And meanwhile, that woman is chasing after the man that I just described to you, right? So you build. You build your body, you build your finances, you build yourself to the point where you are the man now that has the options. And that doesn't mean that you treat women bad. It just means you're indifferent. Stay or go. I don't care because I have others. So men, you have to, playing this game out here now, you don't have a whole lot of value, right? To them, dick has been chasing them since they was teenagers. So they're not hung up over that the way we're hung up over that box. So you have to, if you want to play this game right, you have to build yourself up to be the type of man that has options. So now you can level the playing field some. If you are attractive, if you have money, if other women are after you, then that is going to increase your attractiveness to other women. You will have these options. But if you are out of shape, if you ain't got no money, if you ain't got nothing going for yourself, then ain't no other woman gonna want you. The one you got will be with you, but she's looking for the next best thing. She's looking for the man that I just described, right? So, yeah, what my father was trying to tell me then is the same thing that I'm trying to tell you guys now, that you need to create options for yourself, right? Because having those options is the thing that is going to make women more attractive to you. So it's not that you're treating them bad. You can just be indifferent now. You don't have to fall all over yourself for one, right? Which is what most men do. And why most men end up heartbroken, because they're chasing after that one, only for that one to be chasing after the opposite of what they are. Not interested in them, interested in their purpose and their passion. You know what? Not jumping over hoops for them because they got, those are the men that the women are interested in. Those are the men that they want. They don't want the, you know what, baby, anything, I'll drop everything for you, and here's the flowers, and let me do this. And you are a doormat at this point in time in your life if you're that type of man. Because you would think the woman would want that type of man, but she does not. She does not. Every woman. And I know I'll get shit for this, but I believe it to be true. Every woman wants that type of man. Every woman wants a man. Don't no woman want a man that no other woman is interested in? What does that say about her, right? So listen, man, I can say a whole lot more about that, and I will. I just thought about my father this morning and wanted to give you guys that. But listen, it is 90 degrees. I'm sweating like a pig. I got my truck off so you guys can hear. So I'm going to go ahead and wrap this up and wipe my face off. So listen, appreciate y'all for rocking with me. Again, we got the free 30-minute strategy call that's in the description below. I'll link it in the description below. Some other resources that can be beneficial to you young men as well. Okay? So listen, hope that added some value to you guys. I am the Over 50 guy / the online dad. We'll be back with another one soon.